So it's kind of been a nightmare situation in Hollywood. The Writers Guild of America is, of course, on strike, and a pending apocalypse has been feared by some, that not only are the writers on strike, but very soon the Directors Guild of America contract expires, that they could go on strike, and then SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, who are currently in the process of voting to authorize a strike if the leadership calls for it. And we could have been facing a scenario where the writers, the directors, and the actors are all on strike at the same time. But apparently that's not going to happen. Reports have now come out that the Directors Guild of America, the DGA, have reached an agreement with the AMPTP. That is, of course, the producers, the studios, all that kind of stuff. They've reached a deal that apparently works for them. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter, who write the following. In a tentative deal that is poised to be submitted for approval Tuesday to its national board, the Directors Guild of America spent all day Saturday at the table and reached a tentative agreement with the AMPTP, I believe that's the American Motion Pictures and Television Producers Association, just before midnight Sunday. The 3-year agreement sees the 19,000-member guild receive pay and benefit gains, increases in global streaming residuals, and protections against the use of artificial intelligence, which sources say was the last sticking point to a deal that came after less than a month of negotiations with the AMPTP. The DGA's current contract, along with that of SAG-AFTRA, those are the actors, expires on June 30th. The actors branch currently has members voting to authorize a strike should the negotiating committee call for one. Okay, so one part of the apocalypse trifecta, the Directors Guild, have apparently reached an agreement to avoid the strike. And it's funny that the article points out the fact that several of the key points are also things that the Writers Guild are looking for. Pay benefits, increasing residual recognition, and dealing with the AI question. But for whatever reason, they've been able to reach a deal that the Writers Guild have not. Now, there has been mixed reaction amongst members of the Writers Guild, because here's the reality. While this deal that the directors have struck with the producers and studios does not, I believe, does not hurt the WGA's position, it doesn't help. Because had the Directors Guild and SAG also gone on strike, it would have created an incredibly powerful position of leverage for the unions had all three of them been striking at the same time. With the Directors Guild going on or reaching a deal, again, I don't think that hurts the WGA position, but it doesn't help them either. And as a result, there are some mixed reactions coming from the WGA and members of the WGA. One of the more notable ones was from the writer of Jack Ryan and Warrior Nun, Amy Berg. Listen to this. This is also in the Hollywood Reporter. Thrilled that the DGA was able to use the power of the WGA's labor action to secure a deal that works for them, writer Amy Berg of Jack Ryan Warrior Nun wrote on Sunday. We proposed a number of these terms before the AMPTP cut off negotiations in order to hand a deal to the DGA. They will continue to not speak to us, offering them next to SAG. But we have needs in areas they don't and will secure a deal that works for us. This isn't it. Also, keep in mind that SAG is due to announce the results of their strike authorization vote, and getting this done quickly in an attempt to undermine its impact. Between that and the strike, the DGA was situated well to get something that works for them, not for us. So understandably, it sounds like some of the writers are a little bit peeved that, hey, listen, a bunch of these things you just gave the DGA are the things that we proposed. And you cut off conversations with us and turned around and gave it to the directors. Ugh. Thanks a lot. Now, I don't know like how feelings run towards the DGA. I don't know if members of the WGA do or do not feel any kind of negative feelings towards the DGA for signing a deal when it could have put them in a better position. But again, listen, at the end of the day, the Writers Guild of America, their number one prime responsibility is to the members of the Writers Guild of America. Consequently, the Directors Guild of America, their number one prime responsibility is to the members of the Directors Guild of America, and not to that of SAG, nor to that of the WGA. It's up to each union to, if it can strengthen your position, work together, but your top priority has to be to get the best deal for your membership. And it sounds like that's what the DGA did here. We're very, very lucky to have Chris Carr here, who is a member of one of the big unions, the SAG union. Chris, we'd been speculating that despite the fact that there was some optimism out there, you and I both have been speculating that we were going to see that apocalypse, that the writers, the directors, and the actors would all be going on strike.
Yeah.
That has now been averted. How do you think the WGA should look at this action? And how, if in any way, do you think the DGA reaching a deal will impact the current negotiations going on between the Actors Guild and the Directors Guild? What do you make of this whole thing?
Well, first of all, when it comes to the WGA, this should fire them up even more. Oh, AMPTP, you do negotiate. You are capable of negotiations. Because I love that Amy brings that up in her tweet, right? Of, oh, we brought similar things, I believe, to the table, and then we didn't have any negotiations. But good for you, DGA. That's fantastic for you. So I think this should really fire them up because everyone's just drafting off of each other, right? The DGA was able to create this momentum and have this negotiation because of the strikers. I fully believe that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I also think that this is, and I've seen this so much on Twitter following everything, of just this seems to be the playbook of trying to divide the unions up. And that divide and conquer mentality isn't going to work this time, right? Okay, yeah, you might have gotten a deal for the DGA, and the Writers Guild put out a statement too saying, congratulations to the members of the DGA. That's great that you met this new term, this new negotiation. We're not going to comment on that until we have the actual points of this, because all we're getting is a summary.
Because most people haven't seen the actual terms of the deal yet.
Exactly. We have just kind of this view on there's been some increases and some better things for the DGA, but we don't have hard numbers that are presented to the public yet. So the WGA hasn't really commented on anything regarding that yet, just saying congratulations. Once we see those numbers, people will probably have some different opinions and say some other things there. But I do like that they're just saying this doesn't change anything for us because we still have the same feelings we had when we first went on strike May 1st. The terms of our negotiations have not changed. We still need to have these terms met. Now, when it comes to SAG-AFTRA, first of all, if you know a SAG-AFTRA member, if you are a SAG-AFTRA member, you have to vote by today for that strike authorization.
Yeah, the deadline's today.
All right. There are so many actors who, when I talk to them, will say, oh, I've got a couple more days left. I've got a few more days. No, you don't. Do it now. It takes 5 seconds. It's so easy to do. Go log on and do it right now. If you didn't get your pin, you can go on the SAG-AFTRA website and get your pin. It's so easy to go in and vote. So do that. Because again, it doesn't mean that you want to strike. It means that you are giving the people who can negotiate the power to use that should negotiations not go the way we want. Now, Duncan Crabtree Ireland is the national board member and chief negotiator who's handling a lot of the negotiations for us, for our union. And he also sent out a congratulations to the DGA. This does not change anything for SAG-AFTRA. Our strategy has never been to use the negotiations of another guild and implement them into our own. We have different needs, we have different circumstances, and we are going to negotiate as we see fit for our union. So while they may have met an agreement, that does not necessarily mean we are going to take whatever the MPTP offers us.
Right.
So that gives me a lot of confidence knowing that my union is still going to go vouch for me. And, we've talked so much about unions the last few weeks and everything. I mean, we're in week almost 6 of the WGA strike. Unions are not perfect. There are politics within unions. Not everyone sees eye to eye on how things should be going. There's a lot of, different groups that want one thing, different groups that want another thing. But these are the moments where unions have to come together at the very least to make those negotiations move forward so we can stop our infighting, SAG-AFTRA, all right? I know a whole bunch of you are wanting audition pay, all this kind of stuff. We got to focus on this right now. We got to focus on getting these basic contractual rights and really focus on those residuals because a working class actor no longer exists. A working class writer no longer exists. Working class director, I don't know if we talk about too many of those. That's not a term I hear too much. So I'm wondering if that also factors into the DGA.
Is it fair for me to say that, okay, while the WGA is saying, hey, congratulations to the directors for getting this doesn't change anything for us. Is it fair, though, to say, or am I being overly skeptical by saying, look, the reality is inside the walls of the WGA, they all were hoping the DGA would strike too, because it would strengthen their position. Is that a fair thing to say or an overly skeptical thing?
So many of the things I've been reading, I mean, Stephen DeKnight was talking about how this seems very typical. And this is somebody, too, who is in both guilds. You have a lot of that. You have a lot of that spillover of people who are in the DGA who are also in the WGA. It seems like a very typical thing. And I believe what Stephen DeKnight wrote, too, was the DGA is going to continue doing what works best for them and towing the line of what is still acceptable via the other unions.
Right.
I think a lot of people were hoping that they would strike. And from what I've been reading from all these different writers who have been very, very active on socials, putting the word out, being on the picket line, all of that good stuff, it seems like this is a disappointing move, but also a move that most of them in their heart of hearts saw coming.
Uh-oh, Father's Day is right around the corner and you haven't gotten your dad anything yet? Don't worry. That's where our sponsors, Manscaped, come in. You and I both know he needs some serious grooming in his life, so grab your dad the Performance Package 4.0 and he'll thank you for helping him tame that beastly hair. Go to manscaped.com and use code CAMPEA for 20% off plus free shipping. Guys, I don't know if your dad's anything like mine, but where my dad lacks some hair on top of his head, believe me, he makes up for it everywhere else on his body, and Manscaped is perfect for him. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and perfected their game with the Lawnmower 4.0. This is the perfect gift, presenting a sleek, well-designed, and optimized grooming kit that says your balls will thank you right on the box. Their 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. This upgraded trimmer includes a multifunction on-off switch that can engage a travel lock. This is great for any guy who does a lot of traveling. It also gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Haven't you always wanted to be able to shave your balls in the dark? And come on guys, almost all of our dads have that nose bush sticking out of their nose, right? Well, the Weed Whacker 2.0, the nose and ear hair trimmer, is the best nose trimmer on the market and the perfect gift for your dad. Guys, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code CAMPEA. Don't forget, you came from your dad's balls, so this year, show your original home some love with Manscaped. All right, guys, the question is for you here. What do you think about this? I mean, I suppose if you wanted to be optimistic, you could say, hey, listen, if momentum is now getting done and a director's deal was done, maybe that can spill over and we can see some movement on a WGA deal, maybe on a SAG deal, or more pessimistic that, hey, this really puts the screws to other people. What do you think about this? Do you think this will help the overall situation, hurt the overall situation? Do you believe the DGA did what was best interests of the DGA? Do you think maybe they screwed over the other unions? I don't believe that. Maybe some more skeptical people do. Whatever you guys think about this whole situation, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. Listen, if you like our content, make sure you check out our daily podcast, the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple, Spotify, and your favorite podcasting app of choice.